The narcissistic family dynamic. What does that look like? Who does that affect? How does each person fit into this dynamic? Watch this video. You guys all know that I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, but I also do just as much family coaching and couples coaching. One of the most intriguing yet disturbing family dynamics I deal with on a regular basis is the narcissistic system. This looks different because there are way different types of narcissism and types of dynamics that go within this. But the one I want to focus on today is the one with a covert narcissistic parent. If you have a covert narcissistic parent, the covert narcissist is someone that is very covert about their narcissism. They don't let the outside world see how they really are treating you. They actually seem quite social and quite happy and quite wonderful and achieving high things and have great lives. And inside the family dynamic, it's quite a different story. They're extraordinarily selfish. If there's more than one child will usually be the scapegoat, the other child will be the golden child. And what this means is the golden child is the one that lines up their needs to please the parent. Decides, I'm going to give up on having my own free will because I'm not going to survive. I have to make sure this person is always happy at all times or I won't get love. I figure out how to do that. I achieve the things they think are wonderful. I do the things I know that will please them. This is the golden child. They usually grow up and don't ever figure this out because they are safe in that dynamic. They aren't happy, but they are safe. You can't be happy unless you're totally aligned with your own wise guide inside, not somebody else's. But those people that never outgrow this constant need to please their parent for survival and don't upgrade that, they just learn to please that dynamic and that ideal for usually the rest of their lives. I'm not saying they can't change, but usually, statistically, they don't. Then there's the scapegoat child. This is the one that awakens. This is the child that grows up with a lot of shame, that feels confused a lot of the time, that fights back against this constant pleasing of the parent, that fights for their own inner needs and emotional needs and loses much of the time and gets punished much of the time and gets to feel less than much of the time. And so the message that the scapegoat child carries with him or her is that I'm never enough. I'm not enough. I'm never going to get that approval from this parent. It must be because of me. There must be something wrong with me. One of the first things I want to let you know about that is there is absolutely nothing wrong with you, but you've probably, if you're watching this video, spent a lot of time in your life trying to perfect yourself, figure out what it is, figure out what you're doing wrong, constantly in a feeling of threat or fear or even PTSD. I hear this a lot, where there's this stress reaction to things that aren't really that stressful. This extreme reaction to rejection, this extreme reaction to doubt, this extreme reaction to other people's opinions. Are people going to like me? It's this low-level self-esteem that you grow up with because you're never being validated. And you're not a pleaser. I mean, you try to be, but you really can't be because you're probably really strong-willed. So you're not a pleaser, so you also grow up not really being able to please and therefore not even getting the false love. The golden child gets the false love. It's never real love with a narcissistic parent. It's only love based on how you're making me feel, the narcissistic parent. If you're making me feel good and you're validating my needs, you're golden. If you're not making me feel good and you can't validate my needs, there's something wrong with you. This is a really harsh thing to really understand and to really look at your own life and say, holy shit, could that be me? But it's weird. I was having a conversation with one of my guy friends last night and I was talking to him about this video and he said, isn't that everyone? And I said, no, but it's a huge majority of people these days. And part of my work is to allow people and help people and guide people to get in touch with their inner wisdom, their wise guide inside, their true self, so that we don't create more narcissism or more codependency in the world. Narcissism and codependency are the same wound, just the flip side. It's a false self. You have to create a false self. You have to live for other people. You have to be super selfish. These things are because we are not healed. And when we're healed and we're in alignment with our true self and we're in alignment with our self-worth and our self-love, we don't become narcissistic and we don't become codependent. I've heard multiple times that narcissists cannot heal. They do not change. I don't know if that's true. What I've seen is that that's true. They can change for a little bit, but then they're going to change back because it's such a deep ingrained way of being. Codependents do heal. In fact, they heal a lot. In fact, codependency, in my opinion, is an unhealed wound from this sort of narcissistic abuse a lot of the time. So back to this subject matter, this parent, say it's your mother or father, is creating this dynamic. What happens is the other parent, most of the time, will either have to become like the other parent to survive, or will completely abandon the family and actually become unable to deal. Or they're there, but they never help you out. They never stick up for you. It's almost like this, sideline parent. So the kids grow up feeling like I'm not protected, I'm not supported, and I can't even be myself. I'm afraid of myself. This fear of self, in my opinion and in my work, is what creates many of the negative patterns in our lives. We are trying to not see ourselves. We don't trust ourselves. We're trying to dim those feelings, get rid of those feelings of unworthiness, of what's wrong with me. We a lot of times can't accept real love in our lives because we're like, if you love me really, then it wouldn't make sense for my story of why I'm not enough or not lovable by my original family. So if you do, this wouldn't make sense. I have to protect this old scary story in order to still feel like my stuff makes sense. And so I have to let go of you. And so what a lot of children of narcissistic parents do is they choose another narcissist because that's what they know energetically. It's not like, oh, I'm going to choose that, abusive, toxic person. It's, oh, energetically, that's what feels like home for me because that was home. And so I'm going to choose someone that has a very strong opinion, that's very critical, that's very controlling, because then I don't have to worry about depending on my own instinct and opinion because I don't want to ever be wrong or criticized or be confirmed that I'm not enough. Another scary part of this dynamic that I think is really important to bring up is triangulation. This is something that I didn't even realize was so popular in this dynamic until I started coaching families and seeing how it is exactly this in almost every family that I have seen with this particular issue. And I'm not talking about, by the way, narcissistic personality disorder because I don't label people and I can't diagnose people. I just say people have symptoms of narcissism. People seem like they could be in this zone. They seem like they could be extremely selfish, controlling, critical, and have expectations that will never be met. So here's the thing. The triangulation is when this person, who is this in your family, must feel at all times that they are the center of attention. So what they'll do is if they see you and say your brother or your sister becoming close, they will step in and start talking shit about you to them and them to you. And so it will keep them in control of everything. So if you're one of these people that thinks you're in one of these possible family dynamics, check out your relationship with your siblings. What is that like? Is it a little bit weird? Is it not close? Have you been close and then gone apart? Is there some kind of transparency not happening? Is there some kind of communication that's flawed? Look at it. Think about it. Same thing if it's your mom or dad and they get a little jealous of your relationship with the other parent. They're going to put a wedge in there. You're going to be like, why the heck can't I be close to my mom or close to my dad? What's going on here? Think about what could be going on behind the scenes. And what I really stress is to really listen to your gut. Your wise gut inside. I can't say it enough because it's life-changing. When you listen to your gut and you feel that feeling, you are correct. There is something going on that isn't good. So check it out. So this is the basic structure of this dynamic. There's one parent who's narcissistic, or acts that way. There's another parent who's either also a narcissist or more codependent, or let's just say the sidelined parent. There's siblings that may have sibling rivalry, may not understand each other, may just be confused, may not even know why they don't talk. Something is in the way. So check it out. I have so much more to talk about in this subject. I will be doing more videos on this. This is the first time I'm really talking about this subject because it's become very abundantly clear to me in my work that a lot of people are dealing with it on some level, and it's a big deal. And I feel like by healing, by becoming aware, is your first step of healing. Then healing by creating your own families that are not this dynamic is how we start to be the change. So if you think this video could help anyone, please share and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week. Namaste.